All right, welcome to our explainer where we're going to break down the epic story of how we, as humans, are trying to tame the data beast. Seriously, it's a journey from these rigid, walled-off kingdoms of information to the super-intelligent, connected world of data ecosystems.
Okay, so to really get a grip on this, let's talk scale. Every single day, we create over 2.5 quintillion bytes of data. That is a 2 with 18 zeros after it. I mean, just try to wrap your head around that. It's this unbelievable flood of information that we are all generating all the time.
Now, this absolute explosion of information, it brings incredible opportunities for sure. But it also throws up these massive roadblocks for any organization trying to make sense of it all. How do you find that one important signal in all that noise without just getting totally buried? That's the puzzle we've been trying to solve for decades.
So to really understand where we're heading, we've got to look back at where we've been. For the longest time, there were basically two competing ways to manage data, and they operated like two completely separate rival kingdoms. So on one side, you had the super neat, everything in its place data warehouse. Think of it like a perfectly organized library. It was amazing for structured data you'd use in, say, a business report. Then, on the other side, you had the wild, untamed data lake. This was more like a huge reservoir, just filled with raw, messy, unstructured data, totally perfect for machine learning and exploration, but, a lot harder to navigate.
In this diagram, it just lays the whole problem out perfectly. This traditional dual system forced your data to go on two totally different journeys. The neat, structured stuff went one way for business intelligence. The messy, unstructured stuff went another way for machine learning. They were living in completely separate universes. And this two kingdoms approach, well, it was a real headache. Teams were spending nearly half their time, like 40%, just moving and copying data back and forth. This wasn't just about extra costs or messy rules. It created these silos where teams and their knowledge were totally cut off from each other. So it's no surprise that something like 76% of these data projects ran late, and a staggering 42% of the data just sat there, locked away and completely unused.
All this frustration basically sparked a whole new way of thinking, a real light bulb moment. People started asking, what if we stop thinking about data as something we just store? What if we start thinking about it as a living, breathing, interconnected ecosystem?
And this wasn't an overnight thing. Researchers have actually laid out this whole journey across 6 distinct generations. You can see this clear path from the early days, when it was all about just raw data, to where we are now, in this intelligent, AI-driven era. It's way more than just a tech upgrade. It's a completely different philosophy.
And that's really the key takeaway here. A data ecosystem isn't a place, it's a process. It's this dynamic network that supports the entire life of data, from the second it's born to how it's shared and used again later. We finally stopped seeing data as something you just lock away in a box and started seeing it as part of a living system.
Okay, so this new ecosystem mindset, they completely changed the game. It kicked off the revolution we're seeing right now. So let's break down the 3 big, modern solutions that are totally reshaping how we handle data. And these aren't just minor tweaks, they're fundamentally new blueprints for our data world. First up, we've got the Lakehouse. And yeah, you can probably guess from the name. This is the Great Unifier, the Peacemaker architecture, designed to bring those two old rival kingdoms, the warehouse and the lake, together. It's all about getting the best of both worlds.
And just look at the difference here. Instead of those two separate roads, now every kind of data, structured, unstructured, you name it, it all flows into one single unified platform. It gives you the rock-solid reliability of a warehouse, but with the awesome, low-cost flexibility of a data lake. It's basically one platform for everything.
And the payoff? Oh, it's huge. Companies that switch to a lakehouse see their costs drop by 30 to 50%, mainly because they're not duplicating everything anymore. Even better, they're seeing massive speed boosts, getting answers from their data up to 70% faster.
Okay, so that's the Lakehouse. Next up, we have the data mesh. And this one is different. It's super fascinating because it's not just a new piece of tech. It's a revolutionary shift in how an organization thinks and operates. It's more about people than pipelines. This table just nails the concept. The old way, on the left, has one central IT team trying to own and be the expert on everything. The data mesh, on the right, flips that on its head. It says, hey, let's give ownership to the people who actually live and breathe this data every day. The marketing team owns the marketing data. Sales owns sales data. It just makes sense.
And what happens when you do that? Well, you get rid of that central bottleneck. You empower the teams on the ground, and the result is a massive speed boost. We're talking a 63% improvement in how quickly companies can get new data products and insights out into the world.
All right, our third and final solution, the data fabric. Now, if the lakehouse is about unifying where your data lives and the mesh is about who owns it, the fabric is like this smart, invisible layer that connects all your data, no matter where it is, without ever forcing you to move it.
It's a really brilliant idea, actually. First, it just plugs into everything you already have. Then, it uses AI to get to work, building this incredibly detailed, intelligent map of your entire data landscape. But the really cool part? For you, the user, it just feels like one single, simple source of truth, even though the data is scattered all over the place. It's integration through intelligence.
So what's the big picture here? What's the main thing to take away from all this? At the end of the day, the future of data isn't about building a bigger box to stuff everything into. It's about building smarter bridges, breaking down all those old silos and creating intelligent connections between our data, our tools, and us, the people who use it.
And you can see that evolution so clearly right here. In the 90s, everything was centralized. The 2000s, we distributed it. The 2010s, we moved it all to the cloud. And now, in the 2020s, the game changer is AI. Our entire data world is becoming AI-powered. Every decade, a new revolution. And things are only speeding up.
And look, this isn't just some techie upgrade for data scientists. As this quote gets right to the heart of, this is fundamentally changing how entire companies work, innovate, and make decisions. It's all about making things simpler so you can move faster and get smarter. That's the whole point, right?
Which leaves us with one last, kind of mind-bending question to chew on. We built AI to help us manage all this data, but what happens when the AI stops being just a tool and starts becoming a user, or even an owner of the data itself, right there inside the ecosystem? Where does this evolution take us next? What will that seventh generation of data intelligence even look like?